Cougar fans, it is time.
Touchdown! What a grab!
It's time to raise your colors, raise your voice, and join in on the Raucous Roundtable about your favorite team, the BYU Cougars.
20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!
It's time to tailgate. Cougar Tailgate, where BYU sports fandom lives. And here's your host, Lauren McLean.
What's up, Cougar Nation? I'm Lauren McLean, and we're here to tailgate with you, doing what we do best, talking all things BYU Cougars. For this week's roundtable discussion, we have former BYU football standouts, wide receiver Mitch Matthews. What's up, Mitch?
Let's go.
And defensive back Brian Logan. What's up?
Not much.
Thanks
Chilling
for
like a villain.
That's right. Thanks for coming back on, you guys. We got Cougs in the Super Bowl this week, and we're going to break down who we think is the most popular team, who we want to win, and if BYU could benefit from a Travis and Taylor-like power couple. But first, I got to chat with Kansas City Chiefs assistant running backs coach and BYU alum Porter Ellett about the atmosphere in Vegas right now, the mindset of the team, and what Travis Kelce is really like. Here's that interview. All right, Porter, I can't imagine the craziness of this Super Bowl week for you. So thank you so much for taking a minute to chat with me today.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. This is your fourth Super Bowl. How do you keep the team focused on the actual game with all the craziness of Vegas and the Super Bowl festivities? How do you kind of keep the guys under wrap during this week?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Coach Reed does a really good job of treating it like a game week, and doing a lot of the little things that help the players stay focused. Like every day we're here, we do football. Like we have some sort of practice every day. We have meetings every day about football. So I think he does a really great job of that. And then all season long, very much in our building, it's about football all the time. So it's just normal for the guys. Like, no, we're a football team. Right. Doesn't matter where we go, that's who we are. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing that we do well is, we continue to do the same things we do all year.
Yeah, that makes sense because you could say there's a lot of quote-unquote distraction that goes on through the entire season. So this is probably nothing new for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are kind of the circus when we come to town, and we are like the show, everybody wants to play us. Everybody wants to see us. So it's always kind of crazy.
Speaking of the show, you're in Vegas right now. What's the atmosphere like where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, they have us clear outside of the city. So we're like 30 minutes from the Strip, but you can feel the energy in the city, the excitement. Like we take our buses back and forth to practice, and there's people like honking at us and waving, and it's a special energy around the city.
Porter, you've done this before. This isn't your first rodeo. How do you feel like this season has been different from past seasons leading up to this moment?
Yeah, I think it just took us longer to find ourselves a little bit on offense, especially. Our defense has been, lights out all year. But we have like a lot of new young pieces on offense. Like Travis is kind of steady, he's going to be great. He's as great as they come. And then Patrick's going to push everybody, and he's going to do great. And Pacheco, when he's been healthy, has been awesome. But you had kind of all these young pieces. So I think it just kind of took us longer to find our identity a little bit. But, I mean, the guys battled through it, and I think it made them better in the long run because they would lean on each other. And then lean on the defense. Like we've always kind of been an offense first team, so it's been fun to be like, hey, no, like you guys, thanks. You're winning us games and you're taking care of business. So that was kind of a little different for us, but you got to love the character that it built. These guys have kind of been through it, and you take everybody's best shot. Like, we're the defending champs, and they were coming after us every night, and they didn't feel bad for us.
Porter, as a BYU fan, one of my favorite things is when Travis wore that BYU jersey on his podcast, New Heights, and I know you're the guy behind that, right? So he kind of told his perspective on his podcast. How did it happen from your perspective?
Well, so I mean, obviously, like Cincinnati being in the Big 12, us being in the Big 12, it's awesome. Gives you lots of opportunities to like talk trash and whatever. So it's been fun to be a part of that, but I was just like, man, let's put some let's put something in on it. So he was like, all right, well, you think about it, I'll think about it. And I was like, I already got mine. Like, you gotta, I'll get you a jersey, you gotta sign it. My original one was I was gonna have him wear it into the stadium for the game, but I think that messes with like the guys have sponsorships, like all this stuff. And he was like, nah, I'll wear it on my show, though. And I was like, that's even better. Like, that's way cooler. So he's like, I'll wear it on my show. And then originally he, like, made some bet about, I'll have you take a shot. And I was like, nah, I can't do that. So he was like, all right, well, he said, if Cincinnati wins, then you'll come with me to Vegas. And I was like, all right, like, at least I can say no. I can say no to people in Vegas.
Right.
So that was kind of the deal. And then when they lost, he was like shocked that I got the jersey out because I knew his show. I was like, if they lost this week, I can't get it to him in 2 weeks. So I text Chad Lewis, who Matt Bushman. What's crazy is Chad played for Tom Melvin.
Oh, wow.
And so does Matt Bushman. They play for the same tight end coach. So that's crazy. But I've become friends with Chad, too. So I sent him a text. I was like, can we do this? And he's like, yeah, you want the name on the back? And I was like, if you can. And he was like, yeah, we can get it done. So he got it shipped out like next day. And even Travis was like, what? My name's on it? And then he said it on the podcast. Like Jason was like, how'd they get your name on that so quick? And that was like the funniest line was like, Mormons work in mysterious ways.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah.
And man, was he right, man.
He was right. I mean,
we know how to get things done.
That's even in like scriptures that we work in mysterious ways. So.
I know you were able to bless your son, Griffin. Is his name Griffin? Is that right?
Griffin. Yeah.
Before last year's Super Bowl with Andy Reid, Chad Lewis, and some others. What's it been like for you being a member of the church in the NFL? What's that experience like?
It's a really like special brotherhood, I think, as far as the people that get to be a part of it, and then the experiences you share, because it's a different world, really, to be a member in, and it's fun to talk to like Chad or a coach or Alex Whittingham's on staff here about Zane Anderson last year, Matt Bush, like all these guys, Dan Sorensen, but like just the experiences that you have in the NFL, and then your ability to share in your own way, share the gospel or your beliefs with people. And then the cool thing for me about it too is all these players hold you accountable as well. Like Porter doesn't drink, like he doesn't do that. He doesn't go to the club, like he doesn't. So if you do ever, slip up, or they're like right there, like, whoa.
This is against
this is against your beliefs. It's like, oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
That's cool.
You're right. So I've really appreciated that, and then it's really given me a testimony of like the simple things in the gospel, like just doing the little small things that make a big difference. Like no one's perfect, but those essential gospel, doctrines, the primary things that we teach over and over again, those are super valuable, especially here. Because they remind you of what's really important, and then the essentials of the gospel. So I've loved that, and I love the brotherhood that it creates with all those guys.
All right, guys, it's going to be a fun matchup this weekend, and Chiefs and 49ers fans are rampant among BYU fans. Growing up, it seemed like the majority of BYU fans lean towards the Niners since Steve Young was running the team and winning Super Bowls. Brian, you told a story of that being one of the reasons you came to BYU, right? Because you found out that Steve Young was a BYU alum.
Well, the main reason why I came was because San Diego State took my scholarship away, and BYU ended up being my best offer.
Steve Young was second.
But when I was walking, on my tour in the SAB, I saw Steve Young's jersey, and I was like, Steve Young went here? And then I turned back and looked at my mom, and my mom was like, pointing like, this is the place. This is confirmation. So,
little did she know at the time that is what Brigham Young said.
Right.
When he arrived, right? Wow. This is the place. There it is.
It
was a sign.
My mom still has pictures that I drew when I was like 8 years old of Steve Young. And she's put them all up. Yeah. Wow.
And I'm assuming you've met Steve Young now.
I know, right? Huh?
I'm assuming you've met Steve Young a few times now.
Yeah.
Have you told him that story?
No, I haven't. What's actually really funny? So I was really spoiled growing up as a kid, and I used to watch my first football games were in the booth. So my mom always had booth tickets, and I went for the first time when I was like 10 or 11 with my football team, and we had to sit in the stands, and I was like, this sucks. This is horrible.
With all the commoners.
I can't even see Steve, right? So, yeah, you know who I'm rooting for.
I love it.
Dang.
Well,
yeah.
now with former BYU coach Andy Reid raking up Super Bowl rings and with the Chiefs, it seems like a lot of fans are also leaning toward Kansas City. So, Mitch, who do you think is the most popular team among BYU fans right now?
Look, I know there's a ton of Niner fans because of Steve Young, but I can promise you this. There are more Taylor Swift LDS fans than Steve Young fans. That's not even a question.
Yeah,
so
it's probably true.
Even in the BYU community, LDS community, and the world, it is 50-1 Chiefs to Niners fans. It's just a fact.
That's true.
It's just a numbers game at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. The younger generation, I know they've heard of Steve Young, but it probably isn't going to influence who they're cheering for, right? Because honestly, growing up, it was like all Niners. I grew up here in Utah. Everyone loved the 49ers because of Steve Young, and that made sense.
Yeah.
But now I feel like it's up in the air. So I asked you guys, the fans, of what you thought. 59.1% said the San Francisco 49ers. 40.9% said Kansas City Chiefs. Ryan Robinson on X said, Niners, let's not forget three-time Super Bowl champ Tom Homo, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about Tom.
the
Bit of a
Niners.
Thomas.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but is he saying, or is people saying that's who they want to win, or
I
who
think
they
they're
think
saying-
will win? That's a big difference.
I don't even think it's a matter of winning. I think it's if there are more fans,
Like who's
Niners
popular?
fans or Kansas City Chief fans among the BYU community. Does that make sense?
Listen,
Yeah.
25 years old down to probably 12, it's Chiefs all day.
It's got to be.
Swift.
It's got to be.
At
Well, because they don't know any
35
other
and
names of
30
any other NFL teams.
Yeah, 35 and above, it's going to be the Niner faithful. Because I remember as
Yeah.
a kid growing up, it was Jerry Rice, Steve Young, and I grew up in Portland, Oregon. That was like the closest team, but also
Yeah.
it was that. So you get that, but it's if you're 35 and above, you might be Niners, but below that, man, it's got to be Chiefs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with you.
And it's not even really Chiefs. It's Taylor Swift
And Travis
Chiefs-
Kelce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's,
Yeah.
the Chiefs are just
But
they
look,
just happen to be there.
But hold up,
you know?
though. Andy Reid, though, let's
He's a
forget Travis
gem.
Kelce and Taylor Swift. Like Steve Young, yes, but Andy Reid is the current
He's hip.
head
He's
coach
hip.
king.
He's now.
He's on State Farm commercial.
Yeah.
That is him. So I mean, I don't know how it's.
He's
I don't know
talking
how
about
it's Chiefs.
nuggies.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I love that guy. He's so great. Stevie Janalfi said, Niners, Steve Young and Fred Warner all day. Prison Barrels said, I'd say Niners. Steve Young is the reason I'm a fan. A lot of fans probably don't remember Andy Reid at BYU, so Niners is my pick. Travis Tuiloma, remember that guy? It's all about the Chiefs from Travis. My name on X said, in the 80s and 90s, it was San Francisco for me because of Steve Young. Now I think I lean a little more towards the Chiefs because of Andy Reid.
Or Taylor Swift.
Or Taylor Swift.
Swiftie.
Coming up, we'll give our Super Bowl predictions and discuss which former Cougar is making waves in the NFL and is the most surprising to us. This is Cougar Tailgate. Welcome back to Cougar Tailgate. I'm Lauren McLean alongside Mitch Matthews and Brian Logan. This year's Super Bowl matchup has Fred Warner and Matt Bushman, who's not actually playing, but he's on the team, coached by BYU guys Andy Reid and Porter Ellett, who was on the show today. So no matter what, BYU gets a Super Bowl champ again. Brian, I already know the answer. Who are you rooting for and why?
Yeah, rooting for the Niners, of course, from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And grew up watching them, and obviously the connection with Steve, and then Fred. Like my mom is like obsessed with Fred. You know,
Who's not obsessed with Fred?
right? That's a good.
I
that's
thought
a
it
good
was.
one.
I thought it was Christian McCaffrey.
Listen,
He's like Fred's like 10, and Christian's got to be like 9.9 as far
Wow,
as
so
like,
Fred
like,
surpassed.
Yeah,
can I tell you guys why I'm conflicted on this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
My wife and Fred had a thing for a few weeks. So I'm conflicted.
Oh yeah.
Listen, my family,
Yeah.
all my family. So Fred is my boy. I was his host when he came out to BYU. That's my boy. I love Fred. Troy's little brother's over at my house all the time. We hang out. But Fred's getting paid like $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
You're a little
to all my family, that could have been brother-in-law. Instead, they got me. You know what I mean? There was a slim chance.
They're looking at you like,
If Fred gets another ring, or gets a ring, now it's like even worse position for me.
yeah.
But Fred's one of my like closest buddies.
Yeah.
And so I'm conflicted. You know what I mean? I want Fred to have 25 tackles.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm
You
with
don't- you don't want him to win,
Strip
though.
sack, pick six.
I'm with you, man. You know, so
But-
so my son is a huge Chiefs fan because his mom is from Kansas City.
Yeah.
So we've been talking back and forth, and I think I hurt his feelings because he hasn't texted me back in a couple of days because I was like, mixed kids that play quarterback are trash. Talking about Mahomes, because he's half black, half white, and my kids are too. And from that moment on, he stopped texting me back, and I was like, I love you, son.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
It's a joke. It's
Little
a joke.
banter.
It's a joke. So it elevates it even more. Him and my mom got some bets going on right now. So like, this is like as a dad, it's like the most ultimate, perfect situation to have, my favorite team and his favorite team, matched up in the most important game.
Yeah. But way to go, Maddie. That's all I can think about.
No, I know.
That's fantastic.
I know.
But everyone's married. He's about to have a baby. I think Fred Warner's wife is going to be she's 35 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
At the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so,
what a time to get a W for him.
What a time.
I want Fred to win. See, when I was on the Chiefs, I think Travis is probably the only player still left. That was like 8 years ago. Of course, Andy Reid was still there. And so I have a soft spot for him, for Travis Kelce, and for Andy Reid, and I want them to win for sure. But it's also the team that said bye-bye, and I wouldn't play for the Cleveland Browns. So do I really cheer for the team that said bye-bye? It's just it's one of those weird situations. I couldn't care less who wins. I want everyone to win.
It's like cheering for your ex.
It's weird. There's
just,
something weird about it,
I don't really not want you to win, but I don't want you to win
There's something strange about it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's
sure.
How can I have Fred win and Andy Reid win? Maybe like Travis breaks a bunch of records, Fred breaks a bunch of tackling records, and Andy Reid somehow wins like a certain amount of game. I don't know. Maybe a tie.
Or you know what? Maybe Travis gets hurt and also the backup tight end, and then Matt Bushman gets in. Hey,
he gets activated mid-game.
There you go.
It's going to have to be a weird game for me to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what's got to happen.
Do you guys enjoy the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce stuff going on, or does it make you dislike the Chiefs more? Or do you even care? Brian, what do you think?
Oh, man. I think it's all fake.
Okay.
I believe in conspiracies. I was going to say that.
You don't think it's true love?
I believe in coincidences. And I think that whole thing is all set up for views and money. And you just like I see wives and girlfriends after the game, and they're on the field, and they're like, they give him a hug, and they just, talking to him, and then they go about their business. She's like all on him. I'm like, no, nobody in love looks at their partner like that.
You stink. You smell bad. You don't look your best.
It's like,
what do you mean you're you're draped on me right now?
Draped on him. Go look at Tom Brady's wife when he was married. We know this. We like, it's not.
This is new love, though. You have to remember.
It's infatuation. You have to add that in the equation. It is new. They have to go over the top, and they want the views too. Look, I know Travis, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
He can get any girl that he wants. Mm-hmm. But I think they both kind of know what they're doing. She dates someone on the best team, of course. He happens to be the best player. He's a good-looking dude, though. Oh my gosh, he did not invent the fade, though. Did you see that? He did not invent the haircut fade. Not at all.
He is a handsome.
No, handsome
guy.
is an understatement.
Yeah.
He's a great-looking dude.
Kind of rugged.
But I think there's something maybe partially like not manufactured, but it's just so perfect that she's gonna fly from Japan to the game, and she's gonna be there on the Super Bowl team. It's just too perfect.
That's all.
She's not dating someone on the Jaguars.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and this is the thing. Like Mahomes is the new Brady, right? He's set up to be the new. That's the new Brady and Belichick
in terms of popularity. Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And so,
Gronk, it's the whole thing. It's the perfect situation.
Oh, it's identical. This is some people would say that the NFL is rigged.
Listen,
I'm not as big of a conspiracy guy as you, but I'm starting to get there with all this stuff.
Right? See, that's what I'm saying. It's the same script. Belichick and the Patriots, like you said, with Gronk, it's the same script, ladies and gentlemen. Just all you gotta do is just watch a couple TikTok videos. I'm not even on TikTok, but I'm just saying if you want to go down the rabbit hole, I know that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I will say this though. I haven't studied as much as probably most people, but I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but I think there is some love in the air, though. I got to give him that. I don't think it's completely fake.
Neither of them are actors.
Think it's too
maybe Taylor Swift a little, but Travis Kelce, come on.
He's on commercials, so maybe. But I think it's one of those perfect situations that like, hey, can I potentially find love, but also can this be a marketing machine for the rest of my life, and we all make hundreds of millions from this? oh, this seems like a good blind date. You know?
Right.
Let's get together.
But like we might as well accept the benefits and the perks, that come along with it. Like it's not a negative
She's
thing.
She's cute. I like her. I'll give her 3 or 4 chances because this is going to really help me out, So
knowing Travis, you really think that's something he'd be like, yeah.
No, I don't think he's fake like that at all.
Yeah.
Look, like I said before, really good-looking dude. He has his pick at anybody, and he picked the most popular woman in the world. So I think that might play a factor. Like, okay, I might not have given her a shot, but because she's the most popular woman in the world, let me give her some shots. And she will answer my DM, or we will talk because he's good looking, he's popular, successful.
Right.
So I think that played factors on both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like an arranged marriage, right? But
a little bit, yeah. The NFL and the media world, Hollywood got together and said, we're going to put this thing together.
All of it. Because rankings have been going down a little bit, just a tad bit here and there.
Yeah.
So you could see. I mean, it's like if my dad and maybe like my future wife's, like my father-in-law, right? Let's say I'm not married, and they do this arranged marriage, and they open the door, she walks in, and she's like a 10. I'm like, okay, Dad, okay, I'm not mad at this.
Yeah,
okay.
And there's outside pressure to make it work because it's a Cinderella story.
That too, and so like back in the day when that happened, he's like, look, son, you gotta make this work. We need 10 of them acres. We need them cows.
10 cow wife.
Yeah, we need it all, so make it work. So
you guys have thought about this a lot more than I have.
He's genuinely an amazing dude, though. He's awesome, funny. Everyone loves him. So I know it'll end up the right way. But at the start of something, it's a good setup.
Yeah, for sure.
It's perfect for all parties involved.
Yeah.
Whether it's genuine or not. All right, give us your Super Bowl predictions, the score, and who wins below.
Oh man, so the non-conspiracy,
Yeah.
I mean,
Give that
I
one
would say
first.
I would say Niners.
You think Niners are the better team?
I would say Niners by 10. But being the conspiracies and how I believe the NFL is rigged, I think the Chiefs win by 7.
Oh, so what you desire doesn't actually come through. You think Chiefs win?
Yeah, it's rigged.
I do too. I think there's something.
Taylor Swift, man.
I don't know if it's conspiracy or not, but there's something. The Chiefs, they have a way of pulling it out of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Every play, Patrick Mahomes can pull something out of the hat. So can Travis. So can Andy Reid. I don't know how you bet against that. I think the Chiefs they have the head coach. They have the practice in these moments. They've already beaten these guys. Patrick Mahomes just doesn't lose. So it's just.
Yeah.
I think the Niners have had some rough games leading up to this, and they've barely pulled them out.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to be faced with the best team in the NFL for the last 8 years.
And
I think the Chiefs win.
And to that point, the Niners, like the momentum, it's all about playing, your best at the right time, right? So peaking at the right moments. We talk about this in all sports. And right now, the Niners, the Chiefs are peaking, right, based off of what they've been showing the last couple years compared to, middle of the season. And the Niners is going the other way around. Right, they're declining, so it's not really a good look.
At least the last couple games. I know they had a great second half the last game, but still, I mean, I think Chiefs are taking it 34-31.
Well, they have the veteran players. They know how to win, and I don't know if it's conspiracy. I'm sure there's some weird stuff that goes on in the NFL, but I just think they're a really good team and they're gritty, and you have to have the athletes. Even if the NFL wants the Chiefs to win, they still got to perform, right? Like you still got to make things happen, and I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to pull it off.
I think there's something there, too, with, like, the referees. The ball seems to roll the way of, like, the ultra-vet people. Like, Andy Reid's going to get some calls.
Yeah.
He just will. Travis Kelce will complain to the refs, and they're going to be like, yes, sir. Like, they're going to get a couple needed calls.
And then they're like, hey, could you give me some tickets to the next
Yeah.
All right.
My daughter's birthday. She needs some tickets.
Could you sign this real quick?
Yeah. So I think there's that with the Chiefs, too. And these guys, Patrick Mahomes, you just don't. He's not going to lose. You know, I think the location's great in between both cities. I think it's going to be a fun one. I have a hard time believing the Chiefs lose. And if they do, you're going to have everyone come on board and say something happened. It wasn't the Chiefs' fault. Something happened.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs should just probably win. That's sort of where the momentum and the story's going.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I do wish Fred Warner the best of luck. He's phenomenal. He had a pick, not a pick 6, but I think he had a pick in the last Super Bowl he was in against the Chiefs, which was awesome. So hopefully he can do that again.
Fred is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
at the current pace.
Yep.
Which is insane. Like Fred came in as a 17-year-old kid at BYU when I was like a junior, and he was just little Fred, young Fred. Like,
right.
I mean, always really good. He was a 3rd-round pick, which is awesome. But I mean, he's on his way. Just do the same thing for the next 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think about.
Which brings me to my next point. BYU is currently ranked 8th in the NFL production power rankings, ahead of several college football powerhouses. So basically, of all the college football teams, they're 8th among that have the best NFL players right now.
Wow,
that are giving the most production.
That's hard to believe.
8th. Yes. Okay.
Just take all the SEC teams.
The Cougars have 16 former players on active rosters right now. Zach Wilson, Tyler Algier, Zane Anderson, Chris Brooks, Michael Davis, Blake Freeland, Jaron Hall, Caleb Hayes, Taysom Hill, Puka Nakua, Sione Takitaki, Kyrus Tonga, Kyle Van Noy, Fred Warner, Chris Wilcox, and Jamal Williams.
This has got to be the best BYU NFL presence ever.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's not even close, right? Like,
no,
not even close. I mean, it's like starters, big time players. Like it's a squad.
Eighth out of all the colleges in the country. So I want to know, why do you guys think BYU is producing so much NFL talent right now without recruiting and signing these 5-star guys? They've never been able to do that, and yet look at the production they're having in the NFL. What do you think, Mitch?
I don't know.
It's a mystery.
I don't know because I think recruiting has been it's arguably the worst in a while. You know, like Utah's the featured team in Utah right now, University of Utah. So I don't know. How often do I say I don't know? Not often.
How often do you not have an opinion?
On this one, I'm trying to figure it out. What went there? I do think Kalani puts a lot of focus into getting people in the NFL, which Mendenhall did not. I remember having a conversation with Coach Mendenhall about my desire to go to the NFL, and it was almost like, hey, we don't talk about our players going to the NFL. Maybe you had the same conversations. It was you should be about the team. It should be BYU only. If your thoughts are NFL, it's almost selfish of you.
No, Bronco would come in. So when I was a junior, we came in together. And Mitch was a freshman. Actually, I would tell Mitch and Cody, because they redshirted, so I would go against them every day in practice. And
Best training ever.
Dude, oh my gosh, you guys made the game so easy. I would go in. I'm like, you could start at Wyoming if you want. You could start at Colorado State. They're horrible compared to you guys. So I always appreciate that. But Bronco would come in and in meetings and go, 98% of NFL guys are divorced by this time. 20-something% or 50-something% are bankrupt by this time. 80-something% get addicted to pain medicine and go to rehab. And he goes, and then he had this long pause and goes, "You guys still want to go to the NFL?"
Yeah,
like he would.
Felt dumb saying yes.
Is backwards in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He called me selfish one time for asking about the NFL. He's like, "This is a selfish topic, like that we're talking about." And I'm like, "No, that's the only reason I came here. Is like this is my best option to go play the next level." Yeah. And I think Kalani did something about that. And by the way, I have no hard feelings against Coach Mendenhall, but on this topic, it was not his best topic because you should.
No, and there's merit to it, right? He felt passionate about it, and he
was. I think he was just more of along the lines of saying
focus on the team,
like football isn't everything,
right?
And if you guys do want to make it here, understand what you guys are up against. So while you're preparing for this, right, for football, also prepare. While you're preparing for the NFL, make sure that you prepare also for the things that come with the NFL. And this is the data and this is the stats. But I also think too. So a lot of guys that went and played ball and came back and we had conversations with. They said this. The NFL coaches say that BYU's defensive players are the most ready and prepared players to come into the league because of Bronco's system, right? So when we have new install plays, we'd watch the 49ers, the Jets, and the Steelers because we ran their defense. We're getting prepared at this level so that when we get to the next level, we just hit our stride. And then I think the other thing too is that, and this is what the NFL coaches say, is that we don't got to worry about them. Like, they're mature. They already have kids. They have wives. So they're all about their business. Kids like that, they come in and you give them, $10-20 million, I don't got to worry, but they still going to put their head down, still going to keep working. Mm-hmm. Other kids that maybe,
different.
Oh, like with me, you give me $10,000, I'm see you. I'm gonna show up to practice like on the dot next day. You know what I mean? Like so that was also an interesting perspective too. Is the maturity and the mindset. It's like, okay, now I'm done with school, but also now here's real life, right? I got kids. I don't really got time to be, I got a wife. I don't got time to be doing all the other stuff now that I got some money in my pocket.
What's interesting about all these guys is a lot of them are Bronco Mendenhall guys.
Start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you got Michael Davis, Sione, Taysom Hill, Jamal Williams.
I think most of
Kyle
those guys
Lenoy,
had
Fred
Mendenhall
Warner.
at least at one point.
Yes,
but
at
I
one
think
point.
all of them
And
had
Kalani.
too.
Kalani sent most of them off to the NFL.
Yeah.
But a lot of them started with Bronco.
To Mitch's point though, like that's been a Kalani that emphasis as well. Like that's been a strong emphasis. So
Let's
that's
get you to the NFL.
great
That's where
point.
you want to go. Let's
It's not
get you
like
there.
what Mendenhall did was prepare young people to be mentally tough and to understand the pitfalls of the NFL. But that's also 4 years I have to learn about those things.
Yeah.
In my opinion, when I became my best self is when I had the mindset of, I'm going to go to the NFL. It just exalted me mentally to this new state of mind, and it made me better. And so I had to disagree with Coach Mendenhall about those things. Like, no, I am an NFL guy. That's what I'm going to do. And I think it's healthy for young people to think big like that, and not be told just to rein it in almost and be realistic, if you will.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. I always, this is funny you were saying this because I told somebody this the other day. I feel like that's the reason why I didn't play in the NFL. And people are always like, oh, we're 5, 6 and did it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but I made it here. I made it D1. Yeah, I played in Canada for you. I played arena football. But the difference was that everybody and my mom said, look, D1, you're a corner. Like most corners are 6'1", 6'2". And I just had that same mindset that, man, I'm like, I don't care what you say, respectfully.
Yeah.
I'm just, and you put so much energy into it that it's almost like you kind of force yourself into it, and I've done this with a couple things, like trying to get back here on TV from being sick and other accomplishments, in my life. I had that same mindset that I had getting a D1 scholarship, and I didn't have it when it came to the NFL. So I really believe that. And sometimes it could push the kid. And I almost wonder, now that we're talking about it, I almost wonder if the way Bronco approached things, if that kind of, like pushed it down, suppressed it.
Oh, I know it did.
Yeah.
And they were in the I'm going to break you down mindset, which has its benefit of like mental strength, mental toughness, not quitting. But there's another side to things, which is here's how far you could go if you put like I had to have the conversations with myself about making it to the NFL. It was the conversations I had with my teammates and my mom and dad. I never had a conversation with any coach about here's what you could do. It wasn't until my senior year when Coach Holliday was like, look, I'm talking to the NFL scouts for you. It's looking good. Here's where they think you could land in the draft and whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Like now I think even bigger. So it's a balance. Be tough, but then also help kids think big. They're going to play better.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think Kalani does that. To answer your question of why we have so many in the NFL, I hope that we sort of had a breakthrough. So now the next 10 years, it becomes normalcy to have what we're having.
It's not a shock.
Because
like,
now it's now normal to see what we're doing. We're top 10 or 8th in this ranking. Hopefully recruits hear about this. They believe it's possible. So BYU is now a springboard to be amazing in the NFL. And I think it can continue to work.
My next question is, who's the sneakiest BYU NFL player right now? The guy who you didn't always have on your list to make an impact in the NFL. First one that came to my mind was Puka Nacua because I thought he would do well eventually. I thought he'd maybe get a shot down the road. The season that he had was very unexpected from my eyes. Not like from an ability standpoint, just that Sean McVay gave him the shot that he did, right?
Yeah.
As a rookie was just incredible. So to me, he was the sneakiest BYU player that just had an incredible season. Who do you guys think on that list?
I want to say Kyle, but I don't know if he fits the criteria because, he was out for half the season, right?
Signed late, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and
but this can just be like, and not even
overall.
this season, just overall.
Oh, it's overall.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd probably say Danny Swanson.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because free agent and man, Coach Reed, like Andy Reid, that connection in that pipeline, and
Dirty Dan.
man, yeah, right. And then for him to and I didn't play with Danny. I watched him, and my cousin Joe Sampson played with him, and he speaks the world of Danny.
He's an insane athlete.
Like I always talk about Andrew Rich, and he's like, dude, man, Danny ain't, like Andrew ain't got nothing on Danny. So, for him to land the spot, and then it's hard to like come in as a free agent and play and be productive, and that's what he did almost immediately, right? Like his first or second year, he became a starter.
Played.
Played. So I would say Danny.
That's a good one.
I think when you know those guys, I played with Danny for 2 years. When you know him internally, it doesn't surprise you because you're like, I went up against him in practice all the time. That was no surprise.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew, but anytime you're undrafted, there's some, I want to say luck involved, if you will. Like there's a shot that's needed and that's involved.
Like Andy Reid being the coach.
There's a shot, but I think going as an undrafted safety, you're in the best position because special teams is perfect for you.
Yep.
If I had to pick one, I think it has to be Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Because fifth round pick to go do what no one's ever done in 100-year NFL history is I think it has to be him.
Right.
I think once again, if you saw him play and you saw the playmaking ability, you're not really surprised. I think if you're not a BYU fan and you don't know Puka Nacua, you just think this shaggy-haired kid came in the NFL. You think this is a total shocker. But once again, I think if you know these guys and you've played with them or seen them up close and personal, you're like, that's not really a surprise.
Yeah.
I think once again, you go to a team with a guy like Sean McVay who's able to just see guys' talent, put them in the right place. Cooper Kupp gets hurt, and Cooper Kupp is the most pivotal person in the offense.
Yeah.
So if you put him out, you put in a guy who's going to get the ball. And then Puka's just a playmaker.
So that was the opportunity right there.
Such a playmaker.
Yeah.
Like that connection.
It was luck,
that connection.
right? I mean, it does come down a little.
I don't
luck.
like to start, luck, but
luck at the start just to get a shot. But then he capitalized in every way, which is, to his credit. So, to be a fifth round to undrafted athlete, you have to have some luck at the beginning to get a shot.
Yeah.
Once you get a shot, though, he did what Puka does best and makes plays.
See, I'm not surprised with Puka, because not only just watching him and covering him, but I watched his development with Ross, right? So he would go do one-on-one trainings with Ross, and they'd be out at 7-on-7 camps and doing one-on-ones with DBs. And I remember I was just talking trash to Ross, and Puka was like, and he was like I think a junior in high school, and Ross was like, oh, here's a lineup right now. He'll go against you right now. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm like, somebody give me some cleats. And the whole time, I'm in my heart, in my mind, I'm like, oh, please don't. I'm scared.
Of course, he was super nervous.
And he was, and at that time, he had offers to USC, Washington. Like he was big time at that point. So I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, what did I get myself into? And at the last minute, Ross was like, no, I'm just playing. And I was like, whew. And so to see that work ethic and that development and just that mindset that, man, I'm going to go up against anybody and I'm going to win, not in an arrogant way, but just because of the work that I put in, right? I know that the work that I put in, it breeds this confidence in me to know that, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make this play. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to work harder than you. I'm going to be faster than you in this area. I'm going to be tougher than you in this area because of that work. And so with me, I saw that development. And so people all the time, they're like, dude, it's amazing. And I'm like, he's been doing that. He's been doing that.
Mitch, I want to know your perspective on Taysom Hill to end this conversation, because he's one of your great buddies. He was in college, and to be able to do what he's done in the NFL. He wasn't even going to go to the NFL. He didn't think he was going to be healthy enough. He thought he was going to go into finance or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then look what he's doing for the Saints. So from your perspective, is he one of those sneaky players where you're like, wow, you're doing more than what I anticipated, or is he right where he belongs?
Okay, I'll say this. If you played with him and you saw that body day in and day out, there is no surprise. There is nobody built like him. And even in the NFL, I was in 4 different NFL locker rooms. There is still no freak of nature like Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. So I saw a lot of freaks. I was teammates with Tyreek Hill, great players. I'm talking freak body, freakness, freak.
Yeah.
What am I even looking at? Freak.
God took his time.
Chisel. Yeah.
Captain America.
Took twice as long on him than me,
right?
Physically. But there is no surprise. So I think what the reason why some people might say it's a surprise or, oh my gosh, like, look what happened to him is because of all the injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
If he didn't have any of those, there'd be no surprise.
Right.
So if you just
You're
take him
right.
for the athlete to how it ended up, then there is no surprise. But it also, he played on the Packers, and they didn't care enough about him to even keep him. They cut him.
Yeah.
But it took a Sean Payton, like a Sean McVay in LA, which that's why I think it'd be great if Zach Wilson went there, because those types of coaches are so cerebral, and they're like, I see this guy, I see this kid, let's see where we can put him to get the best out of him.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Puka. I think Sean Payton did that with the Saints. They're like, I'm looking at this thing, this freak of nature, how could we not give him a shot?
Right.
And they put him in this amazing position. And so if you played with him, you are not surprised in the slightest. If you look at the injury and you didn't play him, you've never seen him up close, I'd be surprised. But I am not surprised, and none of the people that played with him are surprised whatsoever. It's exactly what happened should have happened.
I love it. All right, guys, that does it for us today. Thanks again to Mitch Matthews and Brian Logan for coming on the show with me. Carter Bond and Tori Kimball helped produce this episode with senior producer Terry South. You can join the Cougar Tailgate wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or on BYURadio.org. Cougar Tailgate is a production of BYU Radio.